Imagine watching a massive movie screen under a blanket of summer stars, or hanging a heavy metal speaker right on your car window. Here are 10 drive-in theater memories that have faded into history. Before you could tune your car radio to an FM frequency to hear the movie, drive-in theaters relied on heavy, die-cast metal speakers. As you pulled into your parking space, you rolled down your window and reached out to unhook a chunky speaker from a metal pole. These iconic devices, manufactured by companies like RCA, featured a simple volume knob and a wire tethering them to the post. The sound quality was incredibly tinny and scratchy, but it was all part of the charm. In the winter, some theaters even provided electric heaters that hung on the window next to the speaker. Eventually, these wired speakers were phased out in the 1970s and 1980s as car radios became the standard, leaving those iconic metal poles standing empty in the grass. One of the most unforgettable parts of the drive-in experience was the animated intermission countdown that played between double features. As soon as the first movie ended, the screen lit up with colorful dancing snacks, urging you to visit the concession stand. The most famous was the "Let's All Go to the Lobby" animation from 1953, featuring a cheerful hot dog, a box of popcorn, and a singing candy bar. A giant clock would tick down the 10 minutes you had left to grab a soda before the next film began. These vintage animations were accompanied by catchy music and advertisements for local businesses. Today, those quirky, hand-drawn concession ads are a nostalgic relic of a time when going to the movies felt like a true community event. For many families in the 1950s and 1960s, a trip to the drive-in was the ultimate affordable night out, largely because you didn't need a babysitter. Parents dressed their younger children in pajamas, packed a few pillows, and loaded everyone into the station wagon. The kids played in the car, snacked on homemade popcorn, and watched the first family-friendly feature before inevitably falling asleep. By the time the second, more mature movie started, the children were sound asleep, allowing parents to enjoy a quiet date night in the front seat. This tradition made the drive-in a staple of mid-century American family life. It created lasting memories for a generation of kids who remember waking up confused in their own driveways after the long ride home. Unlike modern movie theaters, classic drive-ins were designed to be full evening entertainment destinations for the whole family. Because movies couldn't start until the sun completely set, families often arrived hours early to secure a good parking spot. To keep children entertained during this twilight waiting period, many drive-ins featured full-size playgrounds located directly beneath the massive movie screen. These were equipped with towering metal slides, seesaws, merry-go-rounds, and swing sets. Kids from all over town would run around in the fading light, burning off energy before the main event. Once the projector fired up and the cartoons began, an announcement would play, sending dozens of children sprinting back to their families' cars. Liability concerns and changing habits eventually caused these iconic playgrounds to vanish entirely. During the golden age of drive-in theaters, many locations charged admission per person rather than per vehicle. Naturally, this led to one of the most rebellious traditions of teenage life in the 20th century, sneaking friends in through the trunk. A driver would pull up to the ticket booth and pay for the 2 people in the front, while 3 or 4 friends were crammed into the trunk of a massive American cruiser. Once the car was safely parked in the back row and the lights went down, the trunk popped open and the stowaways tumbled out to watch the movie. Theater owners were fully aware of this tactic and would sometimes have employees patrol the lots, but this game of cat and mouse became a true rite of passage. While watching a movie under the open sky was a magical experience, it also meant dealing with the reality of summer insects. Since car windows had to be rolled down to accommodate the heavy metal speakers, mosquitoes and moths were a constant nuisance. To combat the swarms, families came prepared with an arsenal of bug repellents. The most iconic was the pick mosquito coil, a green, spiral-shaped incense you would light and place on the dashboard. The coil slowly burned throughout the movie, filling the car with a smoky scent permanently associated with drive-in theaters. If you didn't have a coil, you relied on heavy coatings of sticky bug spray, creating a uniquely nostalgic aroma of citronella, popcorn, and summer humidity. At the center of every drive-in theater lot stood a cinder block building that served as the heartbeat of the entire operation. This structure housed both the projection booth on the top floor and the concession stand on the ground level. As the sky grew dark, this building glowed like a beacon in the middle of the sea of parked cars. Inside, the air smelled heavily of hot dogs rolling on metal grills, salty popcorn, and spilled fountain drinks. The concession stand was the main source of profit, so owners made it enticing, often featuring long cafeteria-style lines where you slid your tray past rows of candy, walking to the snack bar in the dark. Trying to remember exactly which row your car was parked in was a thrilling mini-adventure. In their heyday, drive-ins were famous for offering incredible value with double, triple, or even dusk till dawn movie marathons. A single ticket often granted you access to hours of entertainment, usually starting with a cartoon, followed by a family-friendly main feature. As the night wore on, the films shifted to B-movies, sci-fi thrillers, or classic monster flicks like Godzilla and Dracula. These late-night showings were a massive draw for teenagers and young adults who wanted an excuse to stay out all night. The dusk till dawn marathons were especially popular on holiday weekends, turning the drive-in lot into a massive overnight camping party. Enduring a marathon meant fighting off sleep, drinking endless cups of black coffee, and wiping condensation off the inside of the windshield. In the 1950s, the car culture of America was at its peak, and convenience was king. To capitalize on this, some of the more upscale drive-in theaters introduced carhop services, blending the experience of a drive-in restaurant with a movie theater. If you wanted a snack but didn't want to lose your spot, you could simply turn on your parking lights or flip a switch on the speaker pole. A uniformed attendant, sometimes even on roller skates, would come right to your driver's side window to take your order. A few minutes later, they returned with a tray of burgers, fries, and milkshakes that clipped directly onto your car door. While this premium service eventually faded away, it remains a glowing symbol of mid-century Americana. No retrospective of the drive-in theater would be complete without mentioning its reputation as the ultimate teenage date spot. By the late 1950s, drive-ins had earned the nickname passion pits from concerned parents and local newspapers. The privacy of a personal automobile, combined with the darkness of the theater lot, provided the perfect environment for young couples looking for alone time away from watchful families. Teenagers intentionally parked in the very back rows, far away from the bright lights of the concession stand, where the movie on the screen often became secondary. Steamed-up windshields were a common sight in those back rows, cementing the drive-in's legacy not just as a place to watch Hollywood blockbusters, but as a cultural cornerstone of teenage romance. So, if you could bring back one drive-in theater memory, what would it be? Drop a comment down below to tell us your favorite drive-in experience.